Alrighty, gang, we are back with another episode of Dark Powerrr. It's boy StatKing here, and a little bit of something different today. Normally, I always start off with there is no episode of NWA Powerrr, but today we do have some NWA Powerrr to talk about. There was a sneak preview of the NWA Superpower episode, or I think it's a sneak of the episode itself, in which they gave away a match that's already been taped. But it was the in-ring debut of none other than Nick Aldis's insurance policy, Camille. And they did a really great video recap of everything that she has done for Nick Aldis since he lost the World's Heavyweight Championship to Cody at where else but All In. And since Cody is actually in the main event of AEW Dark, this shirt actually is very apropos. But anyway, let's start off with AEW Dark. So, today on Dark, there are two matches. There was Anna Jay, who is a newcomer to the women's division, a new signee versus Penelope Ford, and Joe Alonzo in the main event against Cody, the aforementioned Cody. Now, what I thought was kind of interesting about this episode of Dark is that, well, for starters, I think because they're taping things and they might be taping things out of sequence or order or what the case may be, I don't know. But they called it Anna Jay's AEW debut when it's not. Her debut was against Hikaru Shida not too long ago. But either way, StatKing, right? Stats matter. This is not technically her AEW debut, but either way, she has a contract now with the company. And that's something that we've been talking about on previous episodes, is the talent that they brought in because they didn't have everybody available to them. They were going to give opportunities to independent wrestlers and lesser-known talent around the country. They've done that with Shug D, Pineapple Pete, and with Anna Jay. And Anna Jay now has a contract with the company, which is great. It's something that AEW is kind of doing well. They are listening to the audience. They are working with working to improve their weaknesses to make them not weaknesses, so that they have other weaknesses to work on. And one of those weaknesses was, or has been, their women's division. Now, they kind of started off with a lot of Joshi wrestlers, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they kind of realized that their ability to connect with the crowd is somewhat difficult, right? If your primary, and this is something that we've seen in WWE as well, when it comes to Hideo Itami, when it comes to Asuka, Kairi Sane, a lot of the talent, when you speak a foreign language as your mother tongue, it can be harder to get over. It's more difficult to cut promos, and promos are one of the greatest ways to get your character, get who you are over with the crowd. And if you can't do that, it's handicapping you in a way, because now you have to rely that much more on in-ring talent. Now, for some of them, it's been fine. Like Riho has been able to connect with audiences. Hikaru Shida has been able to connect with audiences. But there was that kind of thought process that this is something that may be holding people back. Additionally, they kind of went with talent that, generally speaking, is not as experienced in the ring. Britt Baker, who has now transitioned into an amazing character of the dentist character, or not the dentist character, but the evil dentist character, not the greatest when it comes to in-ring work. They had Kylie Ray, that didn't work out. They had Awesome Kong, that kind of fell through as well. They have Hikaru Shida and Riho, but there's those language barriers that are starting to creep in. They're developing, so what are they doing? They're developing Penelope Ford. They are working on how to incorporate Bea Priestley more. They are signing people like Anna Jay. They are getting that depth into the building, so that even though Anna Jay is only 21 years old, as Cody is saying, and she hasn't had many matches, we now have the ability to kind of grow with them. And it's another person, it's another attempt to change things up, to try to be new, to try to be fresh, to say, okay, it wasn't working, let's try something new, let's try something different with somebody else. And this is a pretty good match. It's interesting to think that Penelope Ford, who isn't that experienced, is the one leading the match. but she is, and she does a good job. You have to have some. Usually, you have. If you listen to interviews with wrestlers and things like that, they'll talk about how the heel is the one who kind of works the spots of the match. So Penelope Ford, obviously the heel in this match, she's the one who's kind of working the spots, and it works out pretty well. It's almost better to me than the Alonzo Cody match in the main event. And in that match, after Penelope Ford picks up the win, Joe Alonzo is going up against Cody. You have a seasoned veteran in Cody who is capable of leading people in a match against somebody who is an up-and-comer. I don't know whether Joe Alonzo has been given a contract. I don't think he has. But I might be wrong on that. I might be wrong. They may have already signed him, or maybe in the process of signing him. Who knows? But in this match, it's a strong story. They have been kind of starting to tell a story where Cody is having some kind of, dare I say, anger issues. Maybe not anger issues in the sense of lashing out, but anger issues in the sense of a higher level of vindictiveness when it comes to his matches. You can see it on his face. There's different facial expressions. There's a little bit more of the taunting. We're getting a little bit more of that kind of heelish aspects of Cody than we did previously, which is interesting considering he's an EVP and probably, arguably, from a business standpoint, the face of the company, right? Jericho is that mainstream kind of face to everybody, but when it comes to who you think of from the business side, you think of Tony Khan, but then right after that, from the business aspect, a suit, so to speak, you think of Cody, because, I mean, for starters, he's always wearing a suit. But it's interesting to see that that's where they're kind of going with the story of a little bit of that level of vindictiveness. That's actually kind of holds true in this match, because they are sort of watering down the crossroads. He's now sometimes hitting people not just with one crossroads, but two, and then going for the pin, as if he almost knows one crossroads won't be enough. Or, to kind of speak to what I'm talking about, he wants to inflict that punishment. He wants to be kind of mean about what he's doing, and he's like, well, one would do it, but I'm going to go with two, right? So it's one of those situations where, by hook or by crook, they're kind of watering down the crossroads. And in this match, Alonzo kind of counters the crossroads before Cody can even hit it. So Cody, instead of trying to set up the crossroads again or anything like that, goes straight to a submission move. Kind of brilliant from an in-ring standpoint. What would make sense? He's already thinking, well, normally I've been hitting people with two and putting them away. This kid already countered out of one. I'm not going to bother with this because I don't want to run the risk of this guy upsetting me when I'm the EVP. I'm one of the big names of this company. Let's make this kid tap out and let's get out of here. But after the match, they kind of show a little bit of tension where Cody's possibly gonna do something he shouldn't do, but then he pulls the kid up and gives him a handshake, right? It's still Cody. It's still that like baby face Cody that everybody is really getting behind, or everybody is already behind. The amount of people that wanted him to be the one who would beat Jericho was very high before Maxwell Jacob Friedman did what he did against the person who he said was not his friend but was using him. Anyway, let's transition from Cody and Dark to Cody's opponent at All In, Nick Aldis, and Nick Aldis' insurance policy. So this was a really great, it's about, I want to say 25, I'm thinking about 25 minutes long video where the match itself is very short. Probably 5 minutes, if that. Most NWA Powerrr matches don't run that long anyway, so it's not going to be that long to begin with. But what they did was they started with All In, and they moved forward chronologically through Nick Aldis' title win and then title defenses. Now, the story at All In, which I had the privilege of being at, was partially the presence of Brandy Rhodes. Brandy is probably one of the most ultimate ride or die chicks when it comes to wrestling today. That's my personal opinion. If you want to say it's somebody else, that's fine. But for me, when it comes to a manager, when it comes to a valet, she is willing to take bumps for Cody. She will put her body on the line. I mean, granted, it's her husband, both in character, the character of Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes, and in real life. Obviously, we know that. But it's still something when you have the person willing to do all those things. Because, yeah, it's maybe contributes... A manager taking a bump may contribute a small portion to an overall story of a match, even repeatedly throughout a career. But they are still taking pain and punishment that they don't necessarily need to take, right? Paul Heyman rarely takes any form of hit when he is managing Brock Lesnar in the ring, but having him there is important. So Brandy could very well be there ringside for Cody and not get involved and still be important. But the fact that she does get involved adds something. So, with the All-In match, she took I want to say it was a crossbody, or something to that. No, or maybe it was a diving elbow. I think it was an elbow off the top rope. Aldis is going to hit Cody. She comes over and throws herself over Cody and takes the hit. Okay. So what Aldis realizes after the match is that he needs an insurance policy. He needs something or someone like a Brandy Rhodes. Obviously, he can't go to his wife because she's in WWE, Mickie James. So what he does instead is he calls up Camille and he brings her on as his insurance policy. So this recap video starts from the NWA 70th anniversary show where they had a 2 out of 3 falls match for the NWA World Championship. Aldis regains the title. Cody holds it for, I want to say, 70 days. 70 days from All In to when they have that match. Aldis gets the title back. It wasn't supposed to be a long title reign. It was just more of the fact that he was able to pull it off at his show. First father and son duo to ever hold the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Anyway, Aldis. He now has the title, and he now needs to continue defending it. And because of that, Camille is by his side. And they take you through that journey, whether it's a defense against PJ Black, whether it's a defense against Marty Scurll. Doesn't matter. They show Camille being important and being needed. Then they transition into the NWA Powerrr era, and they show what she has done on the show as his backup, where we would now know her better. If you hadn't seen those previous pay-per-views, now you would be able to know, you would know that history, and you can kind of see how it's been carried forward with the things you do know. So they set up the match. It's a quick match, like I said earlier, probably maybe no more than 5-6 minutes, but strong match in the sense that you can kind of see that she's got power behind her, a lot of power. And it's something that we kind of knew already. Like, she was able to take down Tim Storm. She's been able to see Allison Kay. She was able to spear Allison Kay pretty well. Still a little green in the ring, but that's nothing that can't be improved upon with time and effort. I'm pretty sure she is doing that right now as we're all quarantined. She dates or is with Tom Latimer. So they're probably working on that as we speak or as you watch this and all that kind of fun stuff. Working on different amazing things in the ring to improve her. And that's going to be an asset for the NWA because it's adding a talent in an area that they don't currently have. They don't have a female powerhouse character. They have technicians. They have strong, and this isn't taking anything away from someone like Allison Kay, who is kind of have that strong level. But Allison Kay has not been shown to have the strength level of a Camille. Camille is taking out men. Like, she's knocking out Tim Storm. She's able to take hits from Nick Aldis and get back up when they do. Part of the reason why they show when they keep re-showing Nick Aldis accidentally taking Camille out with a clothesline is that she got back up and she was able to continue to help him, even though he accidentally hit her. Because James Storm ducked out of the way. The point of that is to show her durability. We've never seen that with Allison Kay, in the sense that I don't think we have seen on Powerrr Allison Kay get taken out by a man and get back up. That's not to say that Allison Kay would not not get back up. It's just that we haven't seen it, but we have seen Camille do it. We have seen Camille take out Tim Storm. We have now seen Camille take out Maddie Max, her opponent in this match, in short order with very little effort. She didn't really need to bother that much. After this, they tease her talking, but she does not. And instead, they do a voiceover montage of Camille's life growing up. She cuts a pretty strong promo. I knew she was from the South. Still was not expecting that accent, though. That kind of threw me, because I guess I had... And that's kind of an interesting thing, right? You always have a voice in your head that you may attribute to certain people. For example, my family is 100% Indian. My parents are immigrants. To me, my parents have zero accent. To other people, my parents have an accent. I don't hear it. It's weird that when people say that my parents have an accent. I just was not expecting that from Camille, and maybe partially her strength level on promos is one of the reasons why they haven't had her be speaking up until this point. They wanted to work with her and improve in that area as well. And to me, that's something that's good. Not because she's lacking, but it shows a level of dedication from the NWA. It shows a willingness to want to work with their talents to improve them, and that they value them. It's always something important. It's always something that any company needs to do in order to grow and to retain talent, right? So after this promo is strong promo, she details her life's journey through when she was a child playing softball, to when she was in college playing softball, to when she was in now I think it's called the Legends Football League, but it's a all women's football league. And when she came to wrestling, she talks about it through herself, as opposed to just us seeing the clips of what she's done from the previous video montage. And at the very end, she speaks directly into the camera, and she says that she's coming for all the women on the roster. Now, I think Thunder Rosa can get an amazing match out of Camille. That's a personal thing. I've had the pleasure of seeing Thunder Rosa live against Jordan Grace at Freelance. Phenomenal match, and Thunder Rosa is a very unique in-ring talent. She has the wherewithal to match Camille somewhat for strength, right? But still have the ability to be dominated by Camille and over the course of a match, of a story. So I think that's going to be great for them to build towards. When that's going to happen, who knows, right? This whole pandemic thing has thrown a wrench in everybody's plans. But when that does happen, I think it'll be a really good match. I'm looking forward to it already. I'm somebody who, in wrestling, I love the business of it, and I love the storytelling of it. The in-ring concepts of moves, not as much, but I like the story that can be told through a wrestling match, and then the business aspect of it. And from a business aspect, Camilla's money. And from an in-ring storytelling aspect, I want to see the story that they tell for her to get that title shot against Thunder Rosa. And when she does get that title shot against Thunder Rosa, you and I will be there, and then we will talk about it later on an episode of Dark Powerrr just like this. But until then, guys, I'm going to bid you guys farewell. Hope everybody's staying safe with the pandemic. And until next time, guys, take it easy.